Hello, all. Today we are going to analyze some of the major New England poets. Before moving to that, let's know what New England stands for. New England is a region in the northeastern United States that consists of Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont. And this northeastern United States is known for its significant cultural, historical, as well as natural importance. And New England is one of the earliest English settlements in America, with Plymouth colony established in 1620. It's rich with American Revolutionary history. And when you come to geography of New England, it is known for its beautiful landscapes, right from the coastline of Maine to the green mountains of Vermont. And it has got distinct culture with a mix of traditional New England heritage, maritime activities, and a love for other outdoor activities like skiing, hiking, and so on. So, New England poets are known for their evocative depictions of this New England, of the region of New England, its landscape, its seasons, and culture, often using these elements as the backdrops for exploring universal themes. So, New England poets always explored the New England landscape of the New England, its seasons, its culture, and all. Often they use these elements as background for exploring their poetic themes. So let's see who are the prominent poets associated with New England. We know Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Emily Dickinson, Edgar Allan Poe, H.W. Longfellow, Robert Frost, Eugene O'Neill, Anne Sexton, John Updike, and so on. All these writers are New England writers. But today, in this session, we are going to analyze a few among them, a few of those prominent poets associated with New England. So let's see who are all them. New England has a rich literary history and has been home to many notable writers. Let's analyze. First one is important, most familiar among New England poets. That is Robert Frost. So he's an American poet and he's known for his depictions of rural life of New England. He has got an excellent mastery over those American colloquial speech too. He was born in San Francisco, California. After that, Frost moved to Lawrence, Massachusetts after his father's death in 1885. Robert Frost's works captures New England's natural beauty and traditional way of life. He often explores the he often explores the complexities in social life as well as philosophical themes are there with the backdrop of rural New England life. Some of his most famous poems include The Rod Not Taken, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, and Mending the Wall. Hope all these poems are very much familiar for you, especially A Rod Not Taken as well as Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. The later consists of the lines miles to go before I sleep, right? It's a well celebrated lines of Robert Frost. And coming to his literary career, his Frost's first book was A Boy's Will, which was published in 1913, and he won four Pulitzer prizes for poetry, and that's a significant note on him that Robert Frost had won four times Pulitzer prizes for poetry, four times. So now let's move on to uh, another New England poet, that is Emily Dickinson, who is equally celebrated poet as Robert Frost. So Emily Dickinson was born in Amherst, Massachusetts, and he lived much of her life in seclusion. He wrote over 1,800 poems, often deals with themes of nature, death, as well as spirituality. Dickinson's poetry is characterized by short lines, its unconventional punctuation, as well as a slant rhyme. Often she wrote highly compressed as well as in epigrammatic style. His her notable poems include "Because I Could Not Stop for Death" and "Hope is the Thing with Feathers." All these lines are titles are actually the opening lines of her own verses, and she's considered as one of the America's greatest poets. Her works are still studied as well as admired for its originality as well as for its for its depth. So here you can see slant rhyme, right? Slant rhyme. Slant rhyme is often associated with Emily Dickinson's poem "Hop is the Thing with Feathers." She uses slant rhymes in these lines. Like I have heard it in the chiller slant. So what do you mean by slant rhyme? Slant rhyme is also known as near rhyme or half rhyme or even imperfect rhyme. It's a type of rhyme where the sounds are similar but not exactly the same. It often consists of the repetition of consonant sounds, which is called um, or alliteration or assonance or repetition of vowel sounds. Sometimes it involves the repetition of consonant sounds, or sometimes it involves repetition of vowel sounds rather than uh, a perfect match of both vowels and consonants. So that's all about Emily Dickinson. Now, third one is Edna St. Vincent Millay. Again, she was one of the American lyrical poet as well as playwright, raised in Maine, born in Rock Island of Maine. And her verses are often expressive as well as passionate in its depths. She had won Pulitzer Prize for Poetry in 1923 for her collection, The Ballad of the Harp Weaver. The Ballad of the Harp Weaver. She had won Pulitzer Prize for Poetry in the year 1923. So, Millay gained, or the poetess gained early recognition with her poem Renaissance, which won public attention. And she had also published several collections, including A Few Figs from Thistles, as well as Second April. So her sonnet collection is known as Fatal Interview. And he's also known for her lyrical style, as well as passionate, as well as expressive voice. So that's all about Edna St. Vincent Millay. And third one is H.W. Longfellow. H.W. Longfellow or Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was one of the most famous American poets of 19th century. He was born in Portland of Maine. Then it was then part of Massachusetts. And when you come to the literary career of H.W. Longfellow, you can see that Longfellow's first major poetry collection was Voices of the Night, published in the year 1839, which includes popular poems like The Slam of Life, then The Night of the Stars, and so on. He also wrote Evangeline in 1847, The Song of Hiawatha in 1855, and also Paul Revere's Right in 1863. He was the first American to translate Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy into English. H.W. Longfellow is the first American to translate Dante's Divine Comedy into English. He is one among the prominent England poets, and when you come to his rich narrative style, it often incorporates New England folklore as well as New England history. So he remains one of the most beloved poets in American literature. Next, New England poet is Anne Bradstreet. So Anne Bradstreet was one of the most important American poets, and she was the first woman to be published in the English speaking colonies of North America. So she's considered the first published American poet among the English speaking colonies of North America, especially. And Bradstreet lived in Massachusetts, Bay Colony, Massachusetts. When you come to her literary career, we can see her first collection of poetry, The Tenth Muse, lately sprung in America, which was published in 1650 in London, and it received attention from audience. Now, themes of her poetry often explores the themes of personal as well as religious reflections. the struggles of life, her role as a mother. Her later works were Contemplations, which reflects her spiritual growth as well as her acceptance of Puritan beliefs. We can move on to six important New England poets. Sixth one in the row is Richard Wilbur. And Richard Wilbur was born in New York City and later settled at Massachusetts. Now, we know that he's a poet, American poet, uh, and Wilbur was also a renowned translator, particularly of 17th century French literature, including Molière and Jean Racine. So, Richard Wilbur was an American poet as well as a literary translator, and he's known for his mastery of traditional forms and his witty verse. So his collection, Things of This World, won a Pulitzer Prize. And Wilbur was appointed the second poet laureate consultant in poetry to the Library of Congress in 1987. He had written several children's books such as Opposites and More Opposites and all. So his first book of poetry was The Beautiful Changes and Other Poems, which were published in the year 1947. So these are all about Richard Wilbur. Now, Ronald Hall is the seventh one in the row. Donald Hall. Donald Hall. So he lived much of his life in New Hampshire. He was an American poet, writer, as well as literary critic. He was born in Hampton, Connecticut. Now he became the first poetry editor of the Paris Review, which had run in between 1953 to 1961. Now Hall was appointed the 14th Poet Laureate Consultant in Poetry to the Library Congress in 2006. He had authored over 50 books, including poetry collections, essays, children's literature, memoirs, as well as biographies. Some of his well known books include Exiles and Marriages, published in the year 1955, The One Day, published in 1988, and Without, published in 1998. Now, his poetry often explores the themes of nature as well as rural life at New England, and also he is regarded as as I quote plain spoken rural poet unquote. Now, his works, including The One Day and Without, we have seen it blends themes of memory, love, as well as loss. So, these poets, each other with their unique voice and style, contribute richly to New England's literary legacy, drawing on the landscape, seasonal changes, as well as cultural history. So, we have discussed just a handful of New England poets. Hope this session was useful for you, is helping you in gaining some insights regarding New England poets. So, thank you. Thanks for listening.